So, welcome back to the Closure House. I'm your host, Jessica, and today I'm meeting with Ashley. She is such an inspiration. She's written 5 books. She helps women get through setting boundaries, how to leave situations. She really helps them power themselves from within. So, Ashley, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you for having me.
So we just want to get into what relationships have meant to you and times you've had to walk away.
Well, relationships, they've meant everything to me. I was the type of person, I am extremely loyal. I put my heart and soul into every relationship that I have. And, when you are betrayed or used and you have to walk away from situations like that, it's devastating, it
Yeah.
devastates you. And so I've had to walk away from many relationships over the years in my life,
Yeah.
definitely.
How did you get the strength to walk away?
Well, it didn't happen in one day. I think it was a gradual for me. It was a gradual pullback. It was starting to realize when you start to realize what you really want and what you feel like relationships should look like and what they should feel like. You start to have this realization like, oh my God, this person really isn't my friend. This person really doesn't treat me like family. They are, they're using me. They're talking about me. They're gossiping about me. That's not how you want your friendships or your relationships to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it slowly was me just pulling back. You distance yourself from the relationship. You slowly, you may not talk as much, you may not call as much, you may not invite people over as much, and then eventually it fades. Now, there
Yeah.
were some relationships that I did completely go no contact, like you don't even get closure, like I'm just gonna completely not even talk to you anymore. But for the most part, the relationships kind of fade out over time.
Yeah, and can you tell me, we don't have to get too deep into specifics, but when it comes to, personal relationships, what was hardest for you to walk away from?
The hardest relationship for me to walk away from was my family. When I had to walk away from my family, that was definitely the hardest because society tells you blood is thicker than water. Society tells you that family sticks together no matter what. And so that for me, that was the hardest relationship to walk away from because these are people that you've known the longest, that you grew up with, that watched you grow and change. And then to have to walk away from that, that was definitely hard.
Tell me a little bit about your upbringing with your family, what was that like?
Um, Growing up with my family, it was a lot of the love was conditional. There was a lot of emotional neglect. I did have fun times, of course, and but when you grow up a certain way, you start to normalize it or you normalize it until you start when you grow up and you start comparing other families and other relationships that you see, you start comparing it to yours and you start to realize like, something's different here. Something isn't right. And so my upbringing, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't the best. I just realized that I was surrounded by dysfunction. I was surrounded by a lot of dysfunction that I had normalized. A lot of things that were happening, I took it as normal. I thought this is the norm, this is how families are, when really that's not how family is supposed to be.
Yeah, so once you realized that, you decided it would be best for you to walk away.
Right. I had to walk away from my peace of mind, from my sanity. And, I want to show the next generation, I want to show my kids, like, this is how family's supposed to treat you and love you. And, people aren't supposed to tolerate you. You don't want to be in relationship with people that are tolerating you or people that have you around simply because you benefit them in a certain way.
Mhm.
And that's not, authentic relationships to me. That's
Yeah,
not.
so was there anything you had to, undo or unlearn, though, along the way?
I had to unlearn that it's not okay to it's not like the snide remarks, the what they call teasing, in my home it
Mhm.
was teasing, it was, oh, they'll say something disrespectful but they would excuse it as if, oh, I'm just playing, I'm just teasing. And I had normalized that. And so when I went out into the world and I made friendships, I normalized them taking shots at me or jabs. I normalized the little slick remarks. I normalized it when really that's not how you want your friend to treat you, or you don't want your spouse or whoever. You don't want anybody to treat you that way. And that was
Yeah.
something that I had to unlearn. That it's not okay to accept disrespect just because it's said in a joking way.
Right. So you had to unlearn that, and then how did those relationships go?
Well, when you start setting boundaries, people don't like that. They don't like when you set boundaries. They look at you and think that you're mean. They think that you're being too sensitive. And so those relationships had to fell apart because they could no longer, belittle me and get away with it. I wasn't taking it anymore.
Yeah, and did you ever have to undo any of that learned behavior when it came to yourself? Like, did you ever find yourself doing things like that to others?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm a I have a sharp tongue. I'm very witty. So I'm the type of person you have to defend yourself with words.
Yes.
And so when someone came at you with a slick remark, oh, I'm ready. I'm like, I'm ready to come back at you. But I realized that relationships shouldn't have to be so combative. They don't have to be it doesn't have to be that much tension. You shouldn't have to be on guard with
Yeah.
somebody that you love. You should always
Mhm.
have to like be walking on eggshells or on guard or waiting for them to say something or trying to decode if they meant this or meant that. Relationships shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, so, like, when I sit with people, one of the things that I hear the most is, like, the dysfunction just stopped feeling good, so people endured it for as long as they could before they were like, "I don't wanna feel like this when I'm around people."
Right, right. You don't wanna feel like that. You don't even wanna go to family functions because you know that it doesn't feel good. It doesn't
Mhm.
feel good to have someone always, "Why you got that on?" Or, "Why you doing that? Why you talk like that? You act so bougie." Or, it's just like you don't wanna be picked apart simply for existing, simply for walking into a room, you're, like, picked apart, and it's like you don't wanna go in spaces like that. That's not comfortable for you anymore, and I used to normalize that, and now it's like, I'm not normalizing that no more. I'm not going there. I'm not no, no, thank you. I won't be coming.
Yeah, and I also hear people talk about, like, how hard they tried to, like, talk to people about how they felt and what was going on, and a lot of times they were dismissed.
Right.
So, was there anything you did before exiting?
Yes, I tried to have a conversation, with my mom and of course, with narcissistic personalities, they don't like to, um take accountability. They don't like to take accountability for things that they said and done. So it was a lot of deflection. It was a lot of spinning the story, making themselves look like the victim. A lot of, I don't remember that. Or I didn't say that, and it's just, you don't get anywhere when the person doesn't even, they claim not to remember what they did. They don't remember what they said or uh, and a lot of deflection, turning around and making it seem like you're the problem for asking these questions, for wanting accountability,
Mhm.
making you feel like the bad guy for even bringing it up. And
Yeah,
so you don't get anywhere. You can't move past, you can't move forward,
right,
if you
because
even
they're
have a
not willing to
conversation.
change.
Right. They're
Yeah,
not willing to change. And if you can't change it, I have to walk away.
yeah.
Hmm.
So that makes it really hard for that dynamic, and I'm wondering too, like, what was it like getting out into the world by yourself then, like, as you're leaving these people behind?
Oh, it was difficult. It was painful, lonely. Um, Because when you leave, you have to deal with the smear campaigns. You gotta be ready for that because they are literally going to tell everybody that you're the problem, you're crazy.
Right.
I was accused of thinking I'm better than everybody. I was accused of, being disrespectful. "Oh, you only have 1 mom. You shouldn't treat your mom that way." But it's like, you forget that she only has 1 me. There's only one of me, so why don't I get the same support that she gets? It's like everybody wants to enable, the abuser, but
Mhm.
they don't want to see you as someone that may be telling the truth. They don't want to see you as a human. It's like they don't even see you as a person with feelings. And it was hard. It was difficult breaking away. That was not easy. I cried many of nights. And I just replaced the time that I did spend with family, or friends or whatever, I just replaced it with and pouring into myself. I read a lot. I discovered like new foods to eat, new television shows. I just
Nice.
poured a lot into myself, working
Mhm.
out, working on my mental health, reading. I love to read. Just reading a lot, So it was difficult, but I got through it. Definitely got through it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's one thing that makes it kind of complicated too. People have total misconceptions about going no contact. A lot of times I hear them say, like, especially online, they're like, "Oh, my therapist or my kid's therapist pushed them to leave. It wasn't like on their own." Or estranged parents will say something like, "They owe us. They're entitled. They can't leave us." Like
Mhm.
they have no compassion. Like, how do you navigate that as an influencer online?
Right, they don't have any compassion. I don't maybe they might be secretly following me, but I try to explain to my following that you're not wrong for not accepting disrespect. You're not wrong for setting
Mhm.
boundaries. You're actually preserving your peace. It's self-preservation. It's for protection. It's not to, boundaries are not to just to protect yourself. It's not to be mean. It's not to be mean. You're not being rude. You're not being disrespectful. This is something that you have to do for you. You have to take care of yourself before anybody else will. You can't expect anybody else to take care of you, to love you, and to pour into you more so than you do yourself. You need to focus on yourself first. I love that analogy with the in the airplane where it says you got to put on your oxygen mask first
Yes.
before you can help anybody else. That's a great analogy for life. You have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anybody else. And so I would never not encourage anybody to do what's best for them. If you feel like not dealing with a person is the best thing for you, go for it. It doesn't matter about the title, the person's title. Take away the title and look at the person and say, is
Mhm.
the way they're speaking to me right? Is the way they're treating me right? If the answer is no, then you need to make a plan on moving on. And if
Yeah.
going no contact is best for you, then do that.
Yeah, and I think once you start setting boundaries, you already put that space in between because people do not want to adhere to any kind of boundaries. They don't want to hear it. They're going to do whatever they do.
Right. Because they benefit from you not having boundaries. They're getting something from you not having boundaries. So you having weak boundaries or no boundaries is like them striking gold. It's like, yes, this person doesn't stand up for themselves. They're gonna tolerate this. Oh yeah, I'm gonna milk this till I can't milk it anymore. And you're
Mhm.
teaching people that, that your services or that is a community resource when it's not. You're not a community resource. You're not just for everybody to come in and take and use you. That's not what you're here for. And so you don't want people around you that see you as a community resource, that sees you as somebody to leech off of.
Mhm. That's probably one of the hardest things that I work through people in therapy because their whole life is just giving everything, self
Mhm.
sacrifice, and then having to undo it and alone, it's so lonely. And
Right.
having to get through that grief is just heavy. So that's why I wanted you to come on and talk about like how did you do it? And you're giving us a lot of information about how, but I'm also wondering, was there anything that you really struggled through though in the process?
What I really struggled with. Let's see. I guess what I struggled with was the fantasy that I had in my head. I had
Mhm.
this fantasy of taking everybody with me, of me, when I get to where I'm going, all my family is going to be there and support me. I think that was the hardest part of letting go of that fantasy of what family was, what
Mhm.
sisterhood was, that it was such a fantasy in my head. And I had, I don't know, it's like it was like an illusion and it just shattered when I really realized that these people aren't for me. It was like it just shattered the illusion of what family was and what it really means to be family. I was in
Yeah,
La
that's
La
the
Land.
Oh, listen, it's heartbreaking because it's like until a certain point, even if you're a kid and you know this doesn't feel good, there's a certain point that you're like, "Oh no, this is not safe."
Right.
And having to leave that, what you're calling like an illusion, it's hard. So
Mhm.
it's
It's very
heartbreaking.
difficult. It's very difficult. And it's nothing. That's why I always tell my listeners and I tell women like it's not going to be easy. Don't think it's going to be a piece of cake. It's not going to be rainbows and sunshine over on this side. Okay. You're going to go through a really dark period. You're going to be really low. You're going to be stripped down to like your bones, basically. I mean, you're going to be stripped so bare, and it's gonna be painful. It's gonna hurt. I like that metaphor of the butterfly. You know how when you go into the cocoon, when the caterpillar goes
Yeah.
into the cocoon, it's dark in there. It's alone in there. That's just how it's gonna be when you're in that season of transition. You're gonna be alone. It's gonna be dark. It's gonna be scary. It's
Yeah.
an unknown position, so you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna come out of it, but you know you can't go back to being the caterpillar pillar. You got to stay in this cocoon because in the end you're going to turn into this beautiful butterfly at some point.
Mhm.
And so in that space, when you're in that cocoon, when you're in the transition, it is going to be the darkest, toughest, grittiest season of your life. And you have to be mentally prepared for that. You got to be okay with people not liking you. You got to be okay with people talking about you. You have to be okay with being judged and criticized. You have to develop thick skin. You got to be okay with that. If you are too weak and worried about what other people are going to say about you, other people's opinion, you're going to be deeply affected. You really
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, and I'm wondering though, like, how did you shed that? Because we talk about it all the time. People are like, "Don't care about what people think," but when it comes down to having to do it, how did you get there?
To not care. I guess when you grow up being criticized a lot, you develop that thick skin. I grew up being, criticized a lot. And so when you have a caregiver that is very critical,
Mhm.
just random strangers criticizing you, it's nothing. It's like a piece of cake. Like, my own mom
Yeah.
said said worse than that. Like, you think like just because you're spreading a rumor that's gonna hurt me. So that's just for me. Like, that was my biggest critic. So a complete stranger having an opinion or judging me, it's like
Mhm.
lightweight. It's like
Yeah, I got
that's
you. So,
nothing
like,
compared to what I grew up with.
what do you think people could do who didn't grow up that way, who or maybe didn't even know they were being criticized then, or can't take the criticism now?
If they did not know it, they can't take it. They have to literally train their minds and train themselves daily to be okay with it. They would definitely have to build their confidence. They have to know themselves inside and out. When you know who you are, other people's opinion won't phase you. If you know you're a good person, you know that you don't mistreat people, you know you're not a user, you know that you don't think you're better than anybody. If you know that for yourself and you know that you're creative, you know that you're talented and gifted, if you know you have all these great things going on about you, focus on that. Focus on the good and focus on what you know that you're good at, and
Yeah.
understand your weaknesses. Being confident is not about not having any weaknesses. It's about understanding your weaknesses, know where you fall short, know what things you need to work on, know where you need some work, and know those things. So when someone tries to attack you for those weaknesses, you're okay, because it's like, I know I have that weakness. I know this is a weakness. I know this is something I need to work on. So you pointing it out won't phase me. So
Yeah.
I think that would probably be the bottom line, is to build your confidence in order to, so that way you can prepare yourself. It's like putting on armor. So you
Mhm.
can prepare yourself for the criticism and the judgment and the smearing and all that stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of times we're working through like what people believe about themselves because of what they've been told.
Mhm.
Right? So, like, if people believe they're difficult or they're not lovable or, that's mostly what my content is. Like, how do you get through that? But I'm wondering for you, do women ever come to you or people and say, like, I can't get past this?
Um, they can't get well, a lot of people come to me about they have a hard time setting boundaries. They don't know how to set boundaries, which was why I created the course, because they don't know how to do it. They want people to like them. And
Mhm.
in reality, everybody's not going to like you. You got to be okay with being disliked. You got to become comfortable with being disliked. Everybody isn't going to like you. You don't like everybody. We're real with each other. We don't like everybody.
Right.
You don't like everybody, so we can't expect everybody to like us. And everybody, we're not supposed to be friends with everybody. We're no, like, we're all not supposed to hang out with each other all the time. I don't think that's what life is about. Just being friends with everybody that comes into your life. I
Yeah.
don't think that that's good spiritual hygiene, to just allow any and everybody into your life just because they want a seat at the table. I don't think that that's fair to you. I don't think that's fair to them. And people have to be okay with being alone. Yeah, for a little while, being, you know. being alone and just knowing who you are, really just building that confidence. I think a lot of times as society, we feel like it's a bad thing to be by yourself. It's not bad. You need that. You need to be by yourself. I mean, how can you not be by yourself? I don't understand people that don't know how to be by themselves,
Mhm.
because you are all you have. So how can you not be okay with just you?
Yeah. I think people really do a lot of escapism. Like in our society, people drink it away. Some
Mhm.
people use drugs, some
Yep.
people sleep it away. But a lot of times it's like people can't sit with themselves and then they don't know who they are. And then other people, they get in these relationships and people don't know how to deal with them because they don't even really know how to deal with themselves.
Right. They don't. They don't even know themselves. They don't know how to regulate their own emotions. They get in relationships so other people can regulate their emotions, so other people can make them happy, so other people can make them feel good. And it's like, no, everything starts with you. You cannot give someone something that can't, that you don't even give yourself. If you
Right.
want love, give yourself love first. Pour into yourself. And loving yourself is basically taking care of yourself, protecting
Mhm.
yourself. When you love something, you protect it. You do whatever you can do to protect it, to love on it, to nurture it.
Yeah.
Um, you need to do all of that for yourself first. And I think that we've never been taught that. We've, especially as women, we are taught to put everybody else before us. We're on the back burner. I gotta take care of the husband, the kids,
Mhm.
mama, girl. I gotta take care of everybody else and forget about me. And it's like, no, you gotta take care of you first before you can take care of everybody else.
Yeah. And when they come to you and they're like, how do I set these boundaries? Where do you start?
When they ask me how do I set boundaries and where do they start, I will say they could start with my book, The Art
Mhm.
of Being Mean. I say start there, read my book. um,
Tell us about it.
oh, my book, oh my God, it's the Art of Being Mean. It's a guide to setting unapologetic boundaries. It's my most popular book. This is basically like the foundation of my work, setting boundaries, because I was someone who had weak boundaries. I wasn't even aware that I had weak boundaries. I thought I was just loving people. I was
Right.
being blindly loving and loyal to people, but my boundaries were so weak when it came to like family and friends. Strangers, I could set a boundary like that with a stranger, but when it came to family and friends, my boundaries were weak, and I didn't realize at the time I was being used or manipulated because I grew up in it. I
Mhm.
normalized it. Um, and so when you before setting boundaries, I think the main thing is building that confidence. You got to have the confidence enough to set the boundary. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable. You got to
Mhm.
be okay with having the uncomfortable conversations and saying the truth. You got to be okay with that. Speaking your truth and just being who you are. You don't have to cuss anybody out. You don't have to fight to set a boundary. You don't
Right.
have to yell and cuss. Like you don't have to do all of that to set a boundary. That's totally unnecessary. Setting a boundary, you just have to think of it. I'm protecting me. I'm protecting my heart. I'm
Yeah.
protecting my heart because I'm important. We have people need to understand that you are just as important as that person. Why are you making that person more important than you?
Right.
People need to stop and ask themselves that why does this person deserve more respect than me? Like no, I deserve respect too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Uh,
have to ask yourself the hard questions, and you have to also take accountability. You have to take accountability for your part in it because we all play a part in these relationships, whether we want to admit it or not. You
Right.
have to say, okay, I did allow this to slide. I didn't speak up in this situation. When they said this, I should have spoke up. I should have, stopped them there, but I didn't. I allowed it to continue. You have to own that and say, you allowed it, you enabled it when you should have stopped it right when you felt uncomfortable or right when they said that and you didn't like it. You should have said right then, hey, why did you say that? What did you mean by that? You don't
Right.
have to be rude or mean. Just say, "Hey, why did you say that? That hurt my feelings." We have to
Yeah.
start there.
I heard a lot of times, even in my life, like with friendships, people take a lot of jabs. And when you're like, hey, wait a minute, what did you mean? A lot of times they back out. It'll have you thinking that if you don't know yourself, it'll have you thinking that you're taking things too far or
Mhm.
seeing the world wrong. But in reality, that's how people get away with abuse. It's a subtle,
Yeah,
dog whistling abuse where it's like, someone's
yeah,
like, you want to eat that? Hmm. And you're like, "What do you mean by that?" "Oh, no, no, I was just saying,
Right.
I didn't know if you." And the truth is they were trying to put you down,
Right,
right?
exactly. Trying to put you down, trying to make you doubt yourself, trying to, dim your light. They try to knock your confidence. Yeah, it's like you said, it's very subtle. They it's very subtle and sneaky. But I always tell people, like, you feel it in your body. You can feel when something isn't right. You feel it in
Yeah.
your gut. You just feel it. Like that was a jab. And they'll make you think you're crazy. They'll make you think that you're overreacting. They'll try to make you think that you're too sensitive. It's like, no, I caught it. I
Yeah, and
caught it.
dysfunctional families play that role really well
Mhm.
because it's
Yes.
strength in numbers. A lot of times we were taught growing up, if it's everybody, then it's you.
Yep.
It can't be everybody, it's you, right?
Right.
So then when you start raising above the dysfunction, like if you're a scapegoat or black sheep and you're a truth teller, you're out of there, right?
Mhm.
And everybody's still talking and doing everything, but you're the problem, not the
Right.
dysfunction.
Not right. Not the dysfunction, but you. But
That took
you.
me a long time to understand. That's why I'm, like, so glad that you were able to set these boundaries and then, like, write a book. So it's, like, not just you healing yourself, but then going back for others to make sure
Right.
they get healed too. That is so profound.
Exactly. Thank you. Because I wanted to be the person that I wish I had growing up. I want to be that person that I wish I would have heard when I'm of a certain age, so we didn't have the internet growing up.
Me either.
We didn't have the internet growing up. So I wish I would have had the internet and YouTube and all that stuff. And I wish I would have found videos and all that of people talking about what I was going through. I wish that. And so I want to be that person that a little girl or young woman is saying, gosh, I'm so glad that I'm not crazy. She's went through what I've gone through, and she has the language and she has the boundaries, and it's like, "Oh my god, I'm so glad I found her." Cuz I want to be that person for that next
Yeah,
young girl that's going through that thinks that she's the problem because she's calling out dysfunction.
right. Because it's lonely, like you said. So
Mhm.
I love that you wanna be that inspiration because I think once people read the book, they'll learn these steps, and in doing that, they'll be able to, like, put them in place and
Right.
then have it to look back at too.
Exactly. And I also teach in the book that you got to be ready for the pushback because when you set a boundary, there are going to be people that are going to try to push those boundaries. So you got to be
Mhm.
ready and confident enough to stay firm in those boundaries. Like don't waver because if you set a boundary and then you don't uphold it, then they're not going to take you seriously. They're not going to
Yeah.
take you seriously. You got to set your boundary and you got to stay firm on it. You
Yeah,
got
and
to
then does it change over time for you, though? Like, when it comes to family, if any of them evolved, grew, healed, whatever, would you see yourself, like, inviting them back in or talking to them again?
Yes, if they have done the work, that they've healed and they have taken accountability, I will be wide open for reconciliation. But if you're still in the same cycles and the same patterns, I
Yeah.
cannot reconcile. I cannot. You can forgive someone without reconciling. And I think a lot of times we misinterpret or we get the two confused. We think that if you forgive somebody, that means you got to reconcile. That means you got to hang out again. It's like, no, I can forgive you and then wish you well.
Yeah.
I can forgive you and never speak to you again. I can forgive you and never hang out with you again. But in order
Mhm.
for you to be back into my life or for you to come back into my life, you have to have done the work and you got to prove yourself again. Rome was not built in a day. You can say
Right.
all day long you've done the work and but your actions will show me whether or not you've done the work. And if you've done the work, you've taken accountability and moving forward, you won't treat me like that again. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Let's grab a bite to eat. Let's hang out.
Mhm. How do you help women through, like, romantic relationships when it comes to boundary setting?
Ooh, that's difficult because a lot of women, oh gosh, they have, they've gone through a lot when it comes to men. They tolerate so much when it comes to men, and a lot of women
Mhm.
don't want to be by themselves. They don't because society makes us feel like we're nothing without a man.
Yeah.
And so they gotta get past that. You gotta be okay with being by yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing with women. They feel like they have to have a man. They need a man. It's
Yeah.
like, no, you don't need a man. So that's one of my difficult lessons
Yeah.
there with
'Cause
relationships.
women, we've really been defined that way. They're like, "Well, you don't have a man," and I see all these posts on social media, they'll be like, "Don't trust a woman if she's over this age and doesn't have kids or a man." It's
Mhm.
like, so we have a
Right.
lot of pressure to be useful to somebody else, and what you're talking about is, like, really figuring out who you are and being useful to yourself
Right.
first before
Exactly.
you find
Before you even
somebody.
enter a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's really good. What else would you say, what else could you highlight from your book that you feel like could help people who are, watching or listening?
Let's see. So much. A lot of the things that people have, I think, is they don't want to come off rude. They don't want to come
Mhm,
off as mean. They don't want to come off as selfish or narcissistic. And I think that goes back to just they don't want to be perceived a certain way. They're too worried about what other people are going to say and think. And I just
mhm.
want people to get to a point where you just don't care, where
Yeah.
you really don't care what they think about you, what they say about you. You'll be so much happier, lighter, freer. I mean, it's so liberating to just be and say who you are. And I just want every woman to experience that. I want them to experience life without being constrained. Like, just be yourself. Don't care about what they're going to say. Put your blinders on and stop caring so much. Stop caring so much. They care too much.
Mhm. I always, when I'm working with people and they care a lot about what people think, and even I've struggled through this for a very probably longer than I should have. But one of the things that I found was helpful was really identifying how I felt about me and
Hmm.
telling them to identify how they felt about themselves. Then
Yeah.
we can start crossing things off the list because you've told
Right.
these things, but half of the time we don't even revisit them. So it's like we don't
Mhm.
even believe these things anymore. These
Right.
things aren't even true, but we
Exactly.
tell ourselves these things. So I always work through that, like, positive self-talk.
Right. Exactly. Because I know for me growing up, I always told that you talk too much. You think you're better than everybody. And it's like, those are like my best qualities talking. Y'all make me shut up.
They
But that's
say
my
that
thing.
narcissists always, whatever your gift is, that's the thing they always tell you. So they'll be like, "Stop singing," or "Stop
Yeah.
talking," and
Yeah.
then I see people go on to be motivational speakers, singers, whatever they tried to silence, that's the gift.
Exactly, and that's what I learned through my healing, and so when they would silence me, I went to writing. I had a diary, I had journals growing up, and so I would write, and so I think that started my gift of writing, just having to be silent. I was like, "I gotta get this out of me." So
Yeah.
journaling is definitely something you can do. That also helps build, a level of self-awareness. You become
Mhm.
aware of yourself when you start writing down your thoughts, you go back and you read it, and you start to get a clear picture of yourself, of your patterns, of what you're thinking about. And
Mhm.
so I went quiet a lot because I was told to be quiet. My emotions, I couldn't get too emotional. It was excused. Like
Yeah.
you get no comfort. When you are upset, when you're crying, it's like nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares that you're upset. Nobody cares that you're mad. Nobody cares that you feel lonely. Nobody cares. And so you become like your own best friend. I became my own safe space. I kind of like went inside this little shell and just and when I was younger, I internalized everything. They're talking too much, and people, oh, you think you're better than, and I didn't think I was better than anybody. I just don't engage in certain activities. I just don't engage with certain behaviors. I don't think I'm better, but that's just not what I choose to do. I got
Mhm.
teased a lot because of the television shows I watched. I got teased for certain clothes I would wear or teased about what kind of music I would listen to because I was put in a box. Like, why are you listening to that? Like, I'm
Mhm.
open to all kinds of music. Why is it a problem that I want to listen to Britney Spears or the
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys? Why is that a problem?
Right.
And you just start to doubt yourself. So I had to hide what I would watch on television. I had to hide my music. I couldn't listen to certain music in front of people because I was afraid of the judgment. I couldn't watch certain TV shows because I'm afraid of what they're going to say. So it really does a number on you. It does a number on you, and I'm so glad I woke up. I'm so glad I woke up.
Yeah. I am too, and that you did something about it because I see people who wake up and stay, I see them suffer through the
Mhm.
relationship because they won't leave the relationship behind.
Right, they won't leave it because 'cause they're so tethered to it. A lot of times I think they're getting something out of it too. Maybe that person controls the purse strings, you know what I mean? Like, hey, if I cut this family member off, I won't get help with my bills, or I won't
Mhm.
have a babysitter, or, and they have this unhealthy attachment to the family or the family member, and you need to become a little bit more self-sufficient, self-assured, self-reliant, and that will also help you weed out the bad people. Once you start to like depend on yourself, you can weed out bad people a lot easier.
Yeah, narcissistic families thrive on that, like, suffering part. So, like, when it comes to money, they will dangle it like a carrot. They will put you in debt to make
Yep.
sure that you need them for something, so you can't leave the family unit.
Right, exactly. They'll purposely not help you. They'll purposely
Mhm.
not give you information that they know will help you. They'll purposely withhold certain knowledge that they know that you need, certain wisdoms. They do it on purpose sometimes to sabotage you. They do it on purpose in order to make you struggle sometimes. They won't help you just so they can see you struggle.
Yeah.
Um if they do support you, they support you just enough, but not enough for you to be independent of them.
Mhm.
And so it's actually sad. It's sad to see, it's sad to witness, and it's sad that your family would do that to you. That these are the people
Yeah.
that are supposed to love you and take care of you and nurture you, and they're the main ones that's tearing you apart.
Yeah, and then think about how that impacts the vision of, like, love. When you're
Mhm.
being loved by your family so poorly and you don't even know that, and then you go out into the world, into these relationships.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then, yep, and you attract people that treat you the exact same way as your family, and you think that it's normal. You think that, well, this is how I've always been treated. This is what I've always seen, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna accept it. I'm gonna accept it.
Especially if you get stuck with the things that they said to you, like, if you felt unlovable or difficult, you will work so hard to perform in
Yeah,
those relationships for what?
exactly. Exactly. In order to feel worthy, in order to get that love, you're going to overgive. You're gonna make
Mhm.
sure, like, oh, if I do this, then they'll love me. If I say this, then I'll get the love, I'll get the
Mhm.
respect. And it's like, no, that's not how you gain it. You already are worthy just by existing. You're worthy,
Yeah.
just by existing. And yeah, you carry that into romantic relationships, you carry that into your friendships. I've seen women get cheated on and
Mhm.
still stay because he said he was sorry, or because they watched mom and dad, your dad
Mhm.
cheat on mom and mom never left, that it was till death do us part.
Yeah.
And that's another way they kind of trick you, because it's like, well, you're not supposed to get divorced. It's a sin to get a divorce. And, and so you
Right.
get stuck. You get stuck. You feel trapped. You're like in this like golden cage or something.
In the narcissistic family systems, they always, support the person that treats you the worst, too. That's one thing that I see as a pattern. It's like, they don't like the guy that'll set you free and give you everything you want and the life you want. They like the abuser that carries
Mhm.
out the abuse that they can't reach you in, right?
Yes, I've seen, yeah. That's what I don't understand, is like they will
Mhm.
rally around the abuser. They will they
Right.
will enable the abuser. Everybody protects the abuser. Everybody protects the problem. And it's just like, that's backwards. Why is everybody rallying around and helping and supporting the abuser, and not listening to the victim and not supporting the victim? The victim is looked at like they're the problem. Like, oh, don't you dare. You're telling the family secrets, or you're putting us on blast. You're exposing everything. You're the problem. When it's like, no, your dysfunction is the problem. Let's fix the dysfunction so we won't have these issues. But if
Right.
you keep enabling and you keep supporting the abuser, nothing is ever going to get fixed. Nothing's ever
Mhm.
going to come of it,
Yeah.
Can
That's such
never
a
move
good point.
forward.
Yeah, it is. It makes it so hard to move forward.
Yeah. And so I understand. I don't judge anybody that stays in, these relationships, because I understand the mind games, the psychological warfare of being in those relationships. So I don't judge anybody. I just always tell people that it's going to take time. It's a process. It is a literal
Yeah.
process. It's not overnight. You're just not going to just leave and go no contact like that. It's a process. You have to slowly pull yourself away. You wake up slowly, little by little,
Mhm.
little by little. Little
Yeah.
by little.
So one of the things we've been teaching listeners is like how to set boundaries. And like one of the things that we did in the last podcast was we worked through rules versus demands versus like, because some people are like, you can't call me, you can't do this or you can't do that. And it's like, that is not necessarily a boundary. Our boundaries start with ourselves and what we'll accept versus trying to make somebody do what we want them to do.
Right, right.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that it can be difficult when you're in a relationship with someone and they've always been treating you a certain way and then you set a boundary. That to me, that is a little difficult because it's going to be like,
Yeah.
well, I've always said this, I've always done this. Why are you changing now? Then it does
Mhm.
become a little difficult, and a lot of times people don't hold the boundary like that way because they've allowed that person to mistreat them for so long. And so it's like a betrayal to them when you finally set a boundary.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can set it. I would start by having a conversation. You don't have to say, like you said, you don't have to be like, no, it's this. You don't have to,
Yeah.
be that way. Once that person crosses a boundary, you can say, "Hey, I didn't like the way that you said that. I didn't like how that made me feel." Or if
Mhm.
they come to you, you know that they're like a user or a leech. They're always asking you for money. You can say,
Right.
"Um, I don't have it. I hope you find it. I'm sorry, I don't have it this time." That's a boundary.
Mhm.
Like you're not gonna keep borrowing money from me all the time and not paying me back, or waiting
Right.
or pay me back whenever you feel like it. So when you ask, I'm like, "Oh, I don't have it right now. I hope you find it." That's a
Yeah.
boundary.
And when people are setting boundaries, sometimes they'll be like, "Don't ask me for money. Don't ask me for money." And they think that's the boundary. And I'm like, "No, the boundary is how you'll behave." So
Mm,
I'm sorry, I don't have it becomes the
right.
boundary, right? Versus
Exactly.
I told you don't ask me for money. Like, we cannot control people that way. And I'm so glad you're talking about this because I think, like I said, some of these principles took me longer to learn. I grew up in a narcissistic family dynamic. And so, sometimes we're a little bit late learning certain things. So I'm so glad that you're like paving the way.
Yeah, I'm late learning too.
Mhm.
I feel like I was late. I came into it, I was just like, "Man, I should have been set these boundaries. I'm so
Mhm.
late. I'm late to the game." But yeah, like we normalized it though. We just because we grew up in a narcissistic, family dynamic, we normalized so much stuff. And
Mhm.
when that illusion bubble bursts, it's like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
It's like, I can't believe it. It's like, I don't know. It's like you just see the world differently. You see relationships differently. You just understand things on a whole nother level that you can't even like explain to people. They just actually have to experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't take a lot of outside input from people who don't understand because they're
right.
always like, "That is your mom, that is your dad. You have to do X, Y, and Z." And it's like they don't understand.
Right. And I like normally when I get reactions or responses like that, I immediately just shut down because I'm like, you don't get it. They can't even conceptualize what it's like not to have a parent like you, what it's like to have a parent be jealous of you, try to sabotage you. They don't know what that's like. I just recently ran into like an old coworker and
Mhm.
because of the smear campaign, she heard about what happened and she said, if my mom was still alive, I wish I can call my mom, even if I could talk to her for 30 minutes. If my mom was still alive, I would call her because family is, you never know when your time is up. Family is this and that. And I just sat there and I listened and I said, I'm just gonna pray about it. I didn't even give her any conversation because I immediately knew she didn't understand. You don't
Right.
understand what I'm going through. You can't just tell me, oh, I wish my mom was still alive so I can call her. You don't know what kind of mom I had. And
Yeah.
and and honestly, they don't even care to hear your side of the
No.
story.
It's
They
all
don't
forced.
care.
That's why I said the abusers get the support and the
Yeah.
survivors or even victims at the time that can't get out, like they are so looked down on. And you're
Mhm.
looked down for whatever decision you make. If you
Yep,
leave, you're looked down. If you stay with somebody who's abusing you, you're looked down on. If you leave that person, you're looked down on. So it's kind of
yeah,
like you can't do anything right. And if that's
right.
the narrative, then it's like, then I just will do what I want.
Exactly, I'm gonna choose me, if no matter what I do, I'm gonna get talked about. I'm gonna do
Right.
what's best for me. I'm gonna do what's best for me.
Mhm.
That's what we
Yeah.
have to do. You have to do what's best for you. You can't base your life, on other people's opinions and their
Mhm.
expectations. Because it's a sad life. You're gonna be disappointed every time. You're not gonna be fully happy with yourself and your life if you're always doing what other people want you to do.
Yeah. That's
'Cause if I
true.
would have taken her advice, I'm like, "Yeah, she's right. Life is short. Let me go over here." Like, I'll be
Mhm.
miserable trying to reconnect with somebody that I know doesn't like me. Like, that's crazy. But yeah,
Yes.
they don't even wanna hear your side of the story. They take what the abusers say, they just take that and they run with it, and I feel like they do that because they already wanted a reason not to like you anyway. They already wanted a reason to talk about you. They already wanted a reason to dislike you or have a narrative about you, so once
Yeah.
they hear the negative thing about you, they take it and they run with it, and they don't even ask your side of the story. They don't ask you how you feel or what happened to make you go no contact. Like, what happened? To this day, I've gone no contact for about 4 or 5 years. To this day, no one has asked me what happened. Nobody has asked me
You
what
know what?
happened.
Nobody has.
No one.
Wow.
Well, what?
No, you're so right. I think people interject all the time, but the actual asking of like, "What happened?"
Hmm.
I don't think you could explain. We wouldn't have enough time to explain it. But yeah, they don't care.
They
Are
don't
they are
care.
conditioned that
They
to
don't.
know that the only way no matter what somebody does to you, if they are a certain person to you, they have the right to do it.
They
That's what
have
I'm
the
like
right to.
taking
Oh,
from it.
that's perfect. They have the right to do it no matter what. They have that right.
Yeah, and you have to be forgiving and compassionate, but they don't. And you have to be
Exactly.
emotionally intelligent, but they don't.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
So it's
You
like
have to take the high road, but they don't.
right, and that's why I'm always like, when I hear these estranged parents online, and I ended up there because of the way that I, do my hashtags, I don't do that anymore, but
Oh.
while I was there, a lot of them are like, "Oh my goodness, they are so cruel." They talk about, like, how we're cruel and how we only care about ourselves, and that we are too good, and, you know, just almost all the things you've already discussed.
Mhm.
That's what they
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, they flip it around. They flip it and they paint you as the narcissist.
Right.
You're painted as the narcissist.
Mhm.
So it's like it's a mind game. It's just like
Yeah.
that's why you have to be rooted in who you are. You have to have confidence. You have to know who you are because
Mhm.
those smear campaigns and things like that will get to you because it's tough. It's hard going through
Oh, yeah.
a smear campaign. It's
It's
difficult. It's
hard
not easy.
hearing other people believe the things you've heard about yourself from the family that's criticizing while you're trying to save yourself. So, I get
Right.
it.
It's definitely difficult. It's difficult healing through that and dealing with it. It's very hard. It's not easy. So, people better be prepared when they walk this journey
Mhm.
that you be prepared for a lot.
Yeah.
Just be prepared.
And then how did you get to the point where you're like, "I'm gonna tell my story and help people?"
I feel like it was I've always felt like I wanted to share my story. Even as a little girl, I had visions of me sharing my story because everything that I went through was just it was a lot. I went through so
Mhm.
much growing up, and I always knew I would share my story. I didn't know how. I didn't know if it was gonna be a TV movie. I didn't know if it was gonna be a book or whatever, but I knew I needed to get my story out.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the inspiration to actually write it out until I went no contact. I was like, it's time. It is
Mhm.
time. I have nothing to lose now. I've lost everything and everybody. It's nothing to lose. Let me write and just get this out.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I just started writing.
Mhm. And then tell me a little bit about, like, how have you gotten through, like, writing this book? And I saw the other books that you've written as well. Just
Oh yeah, I started out with well, first I told my story, my transformation story. Then I went into I was like, wait, I need to teach people how to set these boundaries. So I
mm,
told the story about how I wrote my book about my boundaries, and then I went into my next book. I had difficulties in my marriage, and I was like,
mhm,
this is something other women probably can go through too. And so I was like, let me tell this story about what happened in my marriage and how narcissism shows up in in-laws relationships and that dynamic. And I did a book about the friendships. I was like, a lot of women don't really talk about jealousy and envy. They kind of keep it hush hush. It's like a silent war that women go through with one another, dealing with the disrespect and the jealousy in workplaces and families and friendships. And I was like,
yeah.
let me share or bring awareness to what it looks like because it's so hidden. It's like if you tell someone, they're gonna think, oh, that's nothing. But it's like, but it is something, it's
Yeah.
something. And so I just wanted to make other women aware of it and how to protect themselves from jealousy and envy. It's just like books just started pouring out of me. I still got
Yeah.
more to go, and they just started pouring out. So, because my goal was only write one book, I had no idea I was gonna write 5.
Yeah.
I started off, I was like, "I'm just gonna write one book." I was like, "No, but I think they need to know how to deal with these fake friends. They need to know how to deal with these coworkers. They need to know how to deal with it in marriage and
Yeah.
in-laws and relationships." So, I still got more, but it just started coming out. It just started it started
Yeah.
rolling.
Awesome. I think it's so important because there's a lot out there on breakups and romantic relationships, but we really don't highlight how important friendships are. Like
Mhm.
friendship breakups, sometimes they hurt worse than relationship breakups. You have a friend
Yeah.
your whole life
Mhm.
and then they're gone.
Yeah, it's like you start off when you're young and you're on the same level, you're on the same page, and then there's like a shift that happens when you start to do a little bit better than them, or they perceive you doing a little bit better than them, or you have a little bit more than them. It's like there's a
Yes.
shift in the friendship and they start treating you differently. They're not really supportive, they start making remarks, they start trying to sabotage you. They start to
Hmm.
try to date people you're dating, or they
Right.
start talk gossiping about you and it comes back around to you. It's just like little things like that that you like you say you don't expect. You've been friends with someone for like 10, 15, 20 years and it's like, wow, I can't
Yeah.
believe you did that. We've been cool for so long and you just switched on me.
Hmm.
And when
Yeah.
you're such a humble person, you don't understand why the switch happens. You don't
Yeah.
understand that it's jealousy. You don't even want to go there. Like for a long time, that word never even came to my mind. I never even thought that that's what it was. Like,
Hmm.
I don't have anything because I'm thinking I don't have much. I'm not even where I'm trying to be yet. So there's
But
nothing to
they
be
don't
jealous
care. They
of.
don't see it. You probably don't wear it. People will envy and be jealous. And that was the differentiation that I've been making online. It's like people think you hear jealousy and you're like, oh, okay, this person wants what I have. But envy's like, I don't want you to have it.
Hey, I
Like,
don't want you to have it.
yeah. And that is so heavy. That's when I've seen the most with friendships like ending for me.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
within the envy phase where it's like I'm struggling through life. I mean, struggling like I'm barely hanging on, but so to think that somebody would be envious is just so wild to me in that space,
Right.
right? It's like it's not
Exactly.
even like I hit the lotto or something
Right.
major, but I think people envy how you manage situations or
Hmm.
what you can take or what comes to you naturally or, things you don't have to learn.
Right, exactly. And that's what I didn't realize. People will just envy the way other people like you. They'll
Mhm.
envy the way your resilience, the way that you just get back up again. Like I experienced teen pregnancy. I got pregnant I had my first son when I was 18 years old. And I think when people watched me not go down, but I still rose above, I still
Mhm.
went to college. I graduated college and there. I still graduated high school. I graduated college. I got on to like get a better job. And I think people thought I was gonna like go downhill after becoming a teen mom when I didn't. I think they envied that.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna be a loser. Like she got pregnant at 18, I mean, she got had a baby at 18. I got pregnant at 17, had the baby at 18. And I think that they thought that I wasn't gonna be anything, that I was just
Yes.
gonna, hate myself. But no, that made me more motivated. That made me more resilient because I'm like,
Mhm.
if I got through that, I can get through anything. So yeah, I got a lot of criticism. I got a
Yeah.
lot of criticism from going through that. That was another thing that I had wrote about. That was a tough time,
Mhm.
difficult time going through that. And people will envy you for overcoming those tough times. And it's
Yeah.
like you would think they would be supportive. You would think they would be cheering you on. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you did it. You're the first one to graduate college in our family." Like, woohoo. No.
They're like, "What? It didn't get her? It didn't end
Right.
her? She didn't quit?" They can't believe you persevered through it. But one of the things I've learned is they'll show up for all the accolades.
Yeah. They want to
Mhm.
get the photo op. Yeah, they definitely want to be in the pictures. They want to be next to you. They want to be able to tell people, "Oh, I know her. I'm cool with her. That's
Mhm.
my family. That's my friend." They want to have the bragging rights of being in your life or in your orbit, but they're not doing any of the work to really stay there.
Right, and them, like, standing next to your light won't light theirs, and that's
Right.
what I don't think people get, so I think they navigate towards people or gravitate towards people who are doing well or lights or, people who are just naturally happy who are like, "I am not gonna be down," right?
Right.
They gravitate towards that, but when they can't get the happiness from it, they'll try to take it from you.
Exactly. That's when they start resenting you and they start
Mhm.
sabotaging you when they realize, hey, I'm not getting the same results as her. Like, what's
Right.
going on? I'm not getting, people aren't gravitating towards me like that. I'm not getting the love and attention that she's getting. What, I'm doing the same thing she's doing. They even start copying you. They start copying your mannerisms. They start copying your personality, what you wear, the things that you
Mhm.
do, thinking that that's it, that's going to make them like you or be like
Yeah.
you. And it's like, no, that's not how. They don't understand the internal work that you do behind the scenes. They don't
Yeah.
understand that part, and they can't even wrap their minds around it. And so they think that you're just lucky. You know what I mean? It's like, no, it's not luck. I'm actually doing the work. Okay.
Yeah. And I see that happen if they end up with their friend's, like, boyfriend, like, if they come into therapy or something like that, like, they'll end up with him, and then they wonder, "Why didn't it work?" It's like because they
Exactly.
weren't you, and they can't be
Exactly.
you, so
Exactly. I had a friend do me like that. She dated a guy after I did, and I guarantee you she thought like, "Why didn't it work?"
Mhm.
Why didn't it work? Because it didn't work. 'Cause I'm like, just because you can't be me by being with him. You can't do
Yeah,
that.
but that's envy, they don't want you to have it, and they will
Yeah.
take it, and I think that part's important because
Yeah.
a lot of what happens will feed into that family narrative, like people saying you're
Mhm.
not good enough, nobody's gonna love you. So when you encounter these relationships and people do you wrong, it mimics that or it kind of
Yeah.
reiterates that. And so it's
Yeah.
so important to know who you are and at different stages. Who
Right,
you are, right?
exactly. It's very important to know who you are. Very important. That is the foundation of, yeah, your confidence and building those boundaries is knowing who you are. A lot because when growing up, you're told who to be and how to act and what to
Yeah.
do, and you really don't have a
Mhm.
chance to discover yourself. Especially in a narcissistic family, they want that control, so you really don't even have, freedom to explore yourself. Like I didn't grow up experimenting with like hair colors and different outfit changes. I was so controlled that I
Yeah.
never got a chance to experiment with what I actually liked and love, and you end up doing
Mhm.
a lot of stuff late in life because you were just so pigeonholed to be a certain way for the family image, for
Yeah.
whoever the narcissist is. You had to, you had to be a certain way for their image to make them
Mhm.
look good. So
Yeah.
I kind of, envy is a natural emotion. So I used to like envy girls whose mom would let them wear crop tops.
Yeah.
They would let them get the certain hairstyles and go certain places and do certain things. I used to envy that growing up because like I don't get that. I don't get to play,
Mhm.
experiment and play with stuff.
Yeah. I kinda grew up the same way. My mom was, like, hard school apostolic, and she didn't wear pants until she was, like, midlife. Like, so
Oh.
so although she did let us wear pants, a lot of it was, like, we couldn't wear certain things, couldn't go certain places, couldn't do
Hmm.
certain things, and that really so, like, becoming an adult and then having to figure out, "Oh my goodness, my mom doesn't even wear makeup. Like, how do I do
Yeah.
that?"
How
Right?
did you do
Or
that?
yeah, so I think that a lot of it is unlearning and then learning these
Relearning, yeah,
yeah.
that's what it's about. I feel like I'm like 5 years old all over again just learning life because
Mhm.
I had to unlearn everything that I ever was taught about myself. I was taught everything wrong about myself growing up, and so, now I've reclaimed my power and my voice, and I'm doing what I wanna do.
Yeah,
Mhm,
and in that process of reclaiming, a lot of times people feel lost because 'cause they're just like,
mhm.
"Do I like this? Do I not?" So, like, we work through that as well, like, how
Right,
to figure out and a lot of times it's just trying things. It's like,
exactly,
"You
and
wear
I always
something, do
tell
you
my
like it?"
clients, you don't fail. You don't fail in life, you learn. You are learning, you pivot, you're able to like, okay, you try something, it doesn't work, try something else. You didn't fail, you just learned you don't like that. You just learned that that's not for you. You don't fail, you learn. You're just
Mhm.
collecting information. And don't feel bad if you you have to start over again. I think my life has been like a combination of just always starting over and rebuilding. Like I'm always starting over, but I give myself grace. I'm like, it's okay. It is
Mhm.
okay. This is your life, and as long as I'm moving forward, I try not to beat myself up. Like I'm still progressing. I'm not regressing, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and that's it, and there's a lot of strength in starting over at certain times. It's like the reminder that I won't just put up with anything, I won't just stay in situations, and while you're learning what you like, sometimes it feels like failure if you don't you try something, you don't like it, you're like, "Eh," you can leave it behind, you're not dragging it along with you. So if you start something and you're just like, "You know what? That ain't really my thing," then you
Right.
just can move on from it. You're not tied to it. There's nobody telling you, "See, I knew you fail. I knew you
Right.
couldn't do that," and you're trying through it
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
yeah, so I think that, like, your story's so powerful because there's been so many moments that you've had to, like, walk away.
Yes, so many
Mhm.
moments. Yeah, it's the story of my life. As life is full of transitions. It's insane.
Yeah, but that's so important for the women and other people who are watching as well to see that it's okay to start over.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up just because you had to start over. It's okay. Life is about change. That's what it's
Mhm.
constant change. You're not supposed to be a certain way or nothing lasts forever. You're not supposed to be a certain way forever, doing the same things forever. Like, it's okay. It's okay
Yeah,
to
and then
change.
for all the people who are listening, who are gonna hear your story, what's one thing you want them to take away from it?
That no matter what, anything is possible. No matter your origin, no matter where you come from, if you got a vision, if you have a dream, follow that. Follow that vision, follow your instincts, listen to your gut, especially when it comes to people and situations. If it doesn't feel right, let it go. If it's not
Mhm.
aligned with who you truly are, let it go. And I just want women to be inspired, to be motivated, and to look at my story and be like, if she overcame all of that, I know I can. I know I
Yeah,
can too.
yeah,
Because I'm human just like you, and if God can do it for me, he can do it for you too.
yes. So I thank you so much for your time today and meeting with me to talk about this. I think your story is so powerful, all your accomplishments, and anybody who's interested in like purchasing her books, everything, the link's gonna be in the description. So thank
Well,
you
thank
so
you so
much.
much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.